listen to the Grassroots Weekend Preview. I'm your host, Alyssa Longmuir. The AIHL was back in full swing last weekend, so let's get started by recapping those games. The Adelaide Adrenaline hit the road and spent the weekend in the nation's capital to play a doubleheader against the CBR Brave, and boy, did fans get their money's worth. Saturday saw the teams square off for the third annual Beyond Blue Cup, raising money and awareness for depression and those struggling with mental health. The first period of the game saw the Brave put 5 pucks behind Adelaide goaltender Peter King, with Matthew Harvey claiming a hat-trick before the first break. The Adrenaline were able to sink 1 goal but exited the first period with a 4-goal deficit. Adelaide came into the second period swinging, with Alyssa scoring his second of the night to drop the Braves' lead down 5-2. Matthew Harvey continued his hot streak, and former Adrenaline forward Weave Darge both scored to make the scoreline 7-2 heading into the second intermission. Greg Oddie added to his AIHL record goal tally in the first quarter of the final period, but Casey Kabara had the final impact on the scoreboard, with the Brave taking the win 8-3. Sunday was a completely different game between the Brave and the Adrenaline from top to bottom. At the end of the first period, the score was tied at 0, with both teams recording minor penalties on the score sheet. Period 2 is where the action started to heat up, and Alex Kokoska continued his scoring form for the Adrenaline, claiming the first goal of the game. CBR Brave got that goal back 25 seconds later to tie the game at 1-1, but the Adrenaline poured on 3 more goals and took a 4-1 lead into the second intermission. Not content to sit back and have the game pass by, the Braves scored 2 goals in the first half of the final frame, taking the score to 4-3. The final 3 minutes of the game was an absolute goal fest, with Adelaide putting 4 pucks away, 3 of which were scored without a Brave goaltender in net. CBR scored 2 goals of their own, but it wasn't enough, and the Adrenaline headed home with an 8-5 win and a split weekend. This was a stellar performance by the Adrenaline's new goaltender, Matt Murphy, who faced an epic 67 shots from the hungry Brave squad. The second round of the Battle of Sydney took place on Saturday night in front of another packed crowd at Macquarie Ice Rink. Tempers flared in the first period, with 3 players receiving misconduct penalties. This would set the tone for the night, with both teams playing with an edge. It was the Ice Dogs that found the back of the net, scoring once in each of the 3 periods, 2 of them coming short-handed. Damien Ketlow claimed his second Battle of Sydney shutout, with the Ice Dogs taking a 3-0 win over the Bears. The Melbourne Mustangs started their tour of New South Wales on Saturday, visiting the Newcastle North Stars at Hunter Ice Skating Stadium. Both sides debuted new import players, with the Mustangs goaltender James Kruger and the North Stars forward Kale Kabashian taking the ice. These players faced each other early, and Kabashian bested Kruger to take a 1-0 lead for the home side. North Stars local Pat Naden scored a shorthanded goal 18 seconds before the end of the first to give the home side a 2-0 lead. The 2017 AIHL harder shot record holder Matt Beattie got the Mustangs on the scoreboard less than a minute into the second period, cutting the North Stars lead down to 1. Cal Kabashian netted another goal, and Matt Morant scored another shorthanded, allowing the North Stars to take a 4-1 lead into the second break. Period 3 saw both the North Stars and Melbourne score before the halfway point, and each team scored again in the latter half, putting the final score at 6-3, with the North Stars claiming only their second home win of the season. The Mustangs continued their trip on Sunday, stopping in at Macquarie to play the Bears, who were coming off their shutout loss from the Ice Dogs from the night before. The Bears were determined not to concede consecutive shutouts, and less than 5 minutes into the game, they ensured that with a power play goal. The Mustangs answered back, scoring twice, but the Bears would reply with 31 seconds remaining in the first, and the score was tied up at 2-2 heading into the first intermission. The Bears got on the scoreboard 2 more times in the second period, but 2 power play goals from the Mustangs would return the team to even footing at the end of the period, tied at 4-4. The last period, however, was all Melbourne, with Sean Jones scoring another power play goal for the team and an empty net goal to secure the 6-4 win for the visiting team. Melbourne Ice ventured west on the weekend to a top-of-the-table clash against the Perth Thunder. Saturday's game saw the visiting Melbourne side take a 1-0 lead into the first intermission with a power play goal from Swedish import Sebastian Ottosson. Ottosson was able to increase that lead for his side early in the second period, and Joey Hughes expanded the scoreline 3-0 minutes later. Perth Thunder answered back, however, and scored shorthanded to make the score 3-1 at the end of the second period. Here's where things get really interesting. Melbourne Ice goaltender Dane Davis got on the score sheet with an assist for their 4th goal of the night, and Victor Gibbs-Shadeen made it 5-1, both goals coming within the final 5 minutes of the game. Tempest boils over with 9 seconds remaining in the game, and with both teams having more than 6 players on the ice, mayhem ensued. Officials called an early end to the game to avoid the need for harsher discipline than double minors, and the Melbourne Ice took the victory 5-1. Sunday's game was just as hard fought, but this time within the confines of the game. Period 1 saw no scoring from either team, while Period 2 saw Perth Thunder take a 2-1 lead, with one of their 2 goals coming shorthanded, which appeared to be the theme across the league this weekend. Period 3 saw Melbourne Ice pour on the shots, registering 17 in total. One of those shots found the back of the net when Joey Hughes tied the game up with just over 2 minutes to go in the game, eventuating in a shootout. Both of Melbourne's Swedish shooters, Sebastian Ottosson and Christopher Backman, found the net, while Perth found the net once but were unable to secure the shootout win, seeing Melbourne return home with 5 out of 6 points. After 8 weeks of competition, the CBR Brave have taken over first place on the ladder with 20 points. Melbourne Ice are in second with 19 points. Perth Thunder sit in third place with 17 points, and the Sydney Ice Dogs round out the top 4 on 15 points. At the time this episode goes to air, the Newcastle North Stars are an hour away from taking on the Sydney Ice Dogs at the Macquarie Ice Rink after an exhibition skills competition from the 2017 Ice Hockey Classic USA and Canada teams. This weekend will see the Melbourne Mustangs travel for a double-header in Adelaide, while their rink mates at the Melbourne Ice host the Perth Thunder on Saturday and Sunday for the conclusion of their season series. The Sydney Bears will travel to face the Brave in Canberra on Saturday before returning home on Sunday to host the Newcastle North Stars. In non-AIHL hockey, the 2017 Ice Hockey Classic will be played at Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney on Saturday evening, with players representing USA and Canada facing off at 7:30 p.m. Head to www.icehockeyclassic.com.au for more details. The Royal Rumble Derby tournament was held last weekend. 14 teams from across Australia and New Zealand battled it out on the track until one team from each division was handed a trophy. In Division 1, Canberra Roller Derby claimed the championship, with Adelaide Roller Derby landing in second place. Northside Roller Derby took the Division 2 title, with the Gallo Lasses from Dunedin, New Zealand coming in second. And in the independent division, Notorious VIC came out in first place, with the Ratta Ladies as runners-up. For more information, check out the Royal Rumble Derby tournament on Facebook. That's it for this week's weekend preview. Don't forget to connect with us on social media at Grassroots_AU at Twitter, at Grassroots_Sports on Instagram, and at Grassroots Sports on Facebook. Keep up to date on what's happening in emerging sports via our website, www.grassroots-sports.com.au. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Friday for another Grassroots Weekend Preview.